Welcome to the city of Edmonton, Alberta. My name is Matt, my wife Cheryl is behind the camera, and we're gonna spend a day and a half here in Edmonton, Alberta. So if you wanna see what there is to do in Edmonton, come and join us for a couple of days. We are starting off here in Edmonton with a bike tour, but this is not just any bike tour. This is a food bike tour, and the reviews have been insanely high on this thing. So we're gonna go for 4 hours biking around the city of Edmonton. I think this could be a great way to see the city. And also, we've got a tour guide here who's gonna tell us about it. And then every so often, we're gonna stop at a different restaurant, and they're gonna sit us down and feed us a little bit here.
And so today we are headed for a nice ride to Frida and Taqueria.
After doing an e-bike tour in Rome, we figured we'd try it again with Edmonton. This has now become our new favorite way to see a city.
My name is Vanessa de Oliveira. We own the food bike tours where we go to different restaurants around the city, promoting local, getting that behind the scenes experience, and biking up calories and doing sightseeing at the same time. We're the first in Canada to be doing that. Actually, it was just an idea that came in my head when a friend invited me to go for a bike ride, and I didn't even own a bike at that time.
We loved riding through the beautiful Legislature grounds, and we'll do a tour of this building tomorrow.
Welcome to your first stop. Give you guys a round of applause. You're not just going to a restaurant getting served, because anyone can do that. It's actually learning that it's local, learning their story, and that makes you want to come back to them even more. Be like, oh, you know what? I know Alessandro. He makes really good donuts. I need to come back and support him. So that's what we try to do, is really create those community connections.
It was great. Everything made in-house. So the tortillas, the drink, yeah, it was really good. One thing we learned is everything in Alberta has to be the largest thing. So Edmonton boasts the North Saskatchewan River Valley, North America's largest stretch of urban parkland, which is 22 times the size of New York's Central Park. It was fun biking through all the greenery. All right, how was it?
It's amazing. This is so worth it because you're not having to navigate through the city.
We'll be back with the drinks.
This is Venezuelan food. And so this is cornmeal with some beans and some meat in it and some cheese. We've got some fried plantains. These are fries that are made out of the root of something. And then this is leche cake, so soaked in 3 different kinds of milk. And then we've got some dipping sauce. And the nice man that owns this restaurant said that he built this restaurant with his heart, and he puts his heart into everything he makes. It is so neat to meet these restaurant owners.
Since 2016, I've been doing this. Edmonton is our biggest base. We're also in Calgary, Canmore we started this year, as well as Kelowna and Cochrane, and hopefully next year Banff. So.
The owner of this delicious little cafe is Italian, and this stop was awesome because the kids got to make their own donuts.
Is that custard or you want the I love doing the tours and eating and biking and meeting new people like yourselves.
A huge thanks to Vanessa for a great tour. Up next, we are going to do a tour of the Alberta Legislature building. This building was built in 1907 after Edmonton was named the capital of Alberta, winning that title from Calgary. According to our tour guide, it was the first of many victories Edmonton has had over Calgary. The grounds are beautiful, and they even have a bowling green, something you definitely won't find at any US capital. I quite enjoyed the inside because it was a little different from all other capitol buildings I've seen. With only one staircase, it wasn't perfectly symmetrical inside. The fountain was installed to commemorate a visit from Queen Elizabeth II. My favorite thing inside was this dot on the ground. Stand here and the sound reverberations from the fountain many stories below become crystal clear and it feels like you're in the middle of a rainfall. We learned something cool on the tour. This statue is of the English Princess Louise. She and her husband were assigned to some position in Canada that I don't understand because I don't understand any English titles. But what's interesting is that Alberta was named after her as well as the very famous Lake Louise. Okay, we just went on a tour of the Legislature building here. They would not allow any video in there, so we're going to show you some photos while we talk here. But I was a history teacher and I like going to these capitals, but if I'm ever in a state or someplace where they have a capitol building, I like going to them. I find them interesting. But I'm going to let my wife talk about this here because she does not typically find these interesting, so you're going to get a more honest review from her.
This was not a bad stop. The tour is free, which is a bonus, and it's brief. It was 45 minutes long. Plus the grounds around here are really beautiful with lots of flowers and pretty views of the city. Inside, I thought it was interesting because I'm not Canadian, and so it's nice to understand their government a little bit. I'm definitely not an expert, but the little bit of understanding I got was pretty interesting, just the mixture of their legislature and the monarchy, and I thought that was neat. But my favorite part was when they showed us the mace, I guess, that little thing that I don't know, the royalty holds, and it, like, how ornate it was and all the things in it. And Matt and I were very surprised with all of the salutes to beavers, because beaver's like the animal of Alberta, and they even had it on the mace, they had it on the doors inside there, so that was kind of fun. And our tour guide was really nice, answered all of our questions, and the building is very beautiful, almost all marble throughout, just a neat building.
Beaver's the national animal.
It's
the national animal of Canada.
The national animal of Canada. There you go.
This is a little historic park, kind of a historic recreation of various time periods actually throughout history. So actually a very large park, very well done. This is a really nice historic village. I mean, probably one of the nicest I've seen. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Williamsburg. It's really well done. They have some period actors. They have like an indigenous peoples area. Very, very nice exhibits that you can walk through. Now, all these are recreations. The Fort Edmonton actually sat on the grounds of the Alberta Legislature building that we were at earlier. The Fort Edmonton that they reconstructed has a really big old mansion of the guy who ran the fort. That was pretty neat. And then they go back through like the 1880s, the early 1900s, the 1920s, where you can watch some little motion picture movies, you know, the silent movies and stuff like that. I mean, they really do a professional job, and it's a very large area. They also have a train that goes all the way to the back end of the park, so it's kind of recommended to take the train all the way to the back end of the park and then work your way forward. And as you do that, you're working your way forward in time. The problem today was the train wasn't running. That was a bit of a bummer, so we did just walk all the way back there. They do have a streetcar that is running as well, and that'll take you kind of into the village as well. They also have food here. We got something to eat at the Masonic Hall in the early 1900s, little cafe there. They have ice cream. They have right now, again, this Coney Island area that you can play games. I would say this is for somebody who is really into history or maybe wants to learn a little bit more about Western history. Like if you're not from the West, this is pretty interesting. Like the frontier land, the fur trading forts, those are really interesting. I'm kind of used to a lot of those. I've been to many of these types of places. I was at the Mountain Man Rendezvous Museum last year in Pinedale, Wyoming, and I've been to a number of these recreations. This really is one of the nicest ones. If you want to get a nice glimpse of the West, that's pretty nice. If you kind of like some little train rides, streetcar rides, if that's kind of your thing, you can get that here. And then these are kind of kiddie games. You can see there's a few kiddie rides here, like the Ferris wheel and the carousel and stuff like that. So really fun if you have little kids. I think they would really, really like this, or if you're somebody who likes that history. Hey, I'm standing here in the West Edmonton Mall right now. This is the largest mall in North America. And as I was preparing to come here, I was trying to figure out whether this was going to be really lame and just a mall, or whether it was going to be a spectacle and something that we really needed to see. And I would say it's kind of landed somewhere in between. And there are a ton of things to do here at the mall. There is the shopping like a normal mall, which is what I was kind of fearing because I'm not a shopper. I didn't really want to be just walking around a mall forever. But there's so many extra activities that you could do here. You can see behind me an ice rink. That's pretty cool. We have seen an indoor theme roller coaster park. It has a ton of rides in there. There's a really cool go-kart thing that they have in here that goes from one level to the next. Like your ride goes all over the mall. So they have a ton of attractions and activities. And the thing I'm most surprised about is the number of people here. So it really is quite a spectacle, and it's packed. Like every Albertan must be out here today because there's so many people, and it's just a Thursday. So if you're coming here to Edmonton, I would say that the West Edmonton Mall is sort of a must-do, but it's not really fun, at least for me, just to walk through the mall. You would really want to probably pick out 1 or 2 attractions that you would want to do when you visit, like ice skating or the water park.
This is the World Water Park behind me. And what I can say about this park is this is a very beautiful water park. It's so colorful, vibrant. There's lots and lots of nice like just paintings, murals along the walls, and a lot of water slides ranging from like little kiddie ones to some pretty extreme ones that actually go up and then down. The cycle, my son actually went on that. He said it wasn't that scary, but it was too scary for me. This run is about $65 per person. We're here on a Thursday, and it was packed. It's open from 11 to 6 today. We got here around 1:30. All the tubes were sold out, and they never got them back in stock, so we couldn't go on some of the slides. My children really enjoyed the wave pool. That was really fun, but it was almost like a water mosh pit. It was so crowded that I was actually a little worried about my smaller kids' safety just because I was afraid they were going to get wiped out by a tube. But it was really kind of a fun experience. We spent about 5 hours here, so check it out if you're in town.